SwiftUI still feels brand new, and there aren't many resources talking about SwiftUI architecture. So today we're going to look into creating more reusable and more readable views from an existing larger SwiftUI view. When projects grow over time, your code grows as well. And this is fine, right? This is just a result of time. It's not a bad thing. And looking at this article list view, at first you might think like this is there's nothing wrong, right? This is a perfectly structured view. It only has one single article's property. And if you take some time, it's still pretty readable. However, we're not even including like empty states here or loading states and those kind of things, which can easily add up to the structure of this view. Now, I like to look at this with like a mind of SwiftUI architecture. And you could see a few things. We have an articles header. Potentially you could say this is a card style. And in that card style, we have an article row that's being repeated for each article. And I see many devs refactoring this. And what they basically just do is they create an extension of article list view and they put everything into like computed properties. While this works, it's basically just moving code around. Your code doesn't necessarily become more readable or more reusable. In fact, your file becomes larger, and I often find myself searching more than being more optimized. This is how it would look like if you use those extensions. So you have the header property, and you can use the for each accordingly. It works, but I think there's a better approach. And that is extracting and reusing intelligently. And the first one is creating a dedicated article row. This directly makes that article row reusable in other places. In case you want to represent an article again somewhere else, this is the way to do it. You can also easily create previews for this, and if there are multiple states, those will all take place in this single file. The refactor of the view would then look like this. Pretty straightforward, easy to differentiate, and I also like clicking through now, right? You can click through an article row and find more details behind the whole structure of that view. Makes it all a little bit more approachable, if you ask me. Now, then we had this card style, right? We can extract that as well and make it more reusable throughout our app. You can do that by creating a view modifier. This is a pretty common pattern and actually also how many of the default modifiers in SwiftUI work. In our code, we basically have to now add the card style, and we remove the code from the article row already. Now, you don't have to create a view modifier. You can also extract this into a simple extension of view. It all depends on what you want to approach. It's personal style, personal preference, so to say. Both work in this case. Now, another technique that I like to use, and this one is a bit more opinionated because there's more things happening behind the scenes, but still it could be a nice approach to make reusable extensions on a view. And in this case, we created a section header, which takes a title as an argument, and we use self, which is the view that we're applying this modifier on, and wrap it basically in a VStack with that title. And it would look like this, right? So on the VStack, we apply the section header, which means that the VStack will be wrapped with another VStack, adding the title on top of it. And it all looks like how it used to look like. So let's summarize this all together, right? We started with this view, and we saw a few containers, kind of like patterns in our view. And this is still a simple view, right? It could be much more advanced. So we first extract the article row into a dedicated view. Then we apply the card style on the article row itself. And finally, we set the section header using the extension that we created earlier. And I like to compare this to the state we had before. And while they're both perfectly readable, the new version is so much easier to digest for me. Plus, it also invites to click through to reuse the card style anywhere else, to use the section header in other pieces of my app. And the best thing here is you only have to change that piece of code once and it will update throughout your app. Now, finding these patterns is something you need to train. And in the beginning of your app development, you might not know that this is going to be a design style of my app, but you'll find out accordingly over time. Just search for the same piece of code that you might copy over again and again and consider whether you can make it a reusable component. Maybe create a package with all your UI components in there. Anything works, but think about your SwiftUI architecture and consider readability and reusability. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. I hate to ask it, but hey, it's for me a way to reach more developers, create more videos like this, and educate you accordingly. Thanks a lot.